All right, we're live.
We are on the air. I'm going to turn my game volume down.
All right. Welcome to our Final Fantasy conversation. I'm joined by my good friend Sephiroth, Mr. Dan. Say hello.
Greetings, YouTube.
So we're gonna play Final Fantasy 15 online casually. The topic of the conversation won't really be about that, but more or less just about Final Fantasy in general.
Now, I know you call me Sephiroth, but why don't you tell everybody how I got that nickname?
Man,
You remember?
I hope we have the same idea, but okay, so basically the way that I remember it is I must have been about 14, right?
It's
I think
been a while, yeah.
Yeah. Man, no fucking way. Really? Well, anyway, so I must have been about 14, and you were working at the grocery alongside of my brother. We'll just put it that way. And so I used to come in with my brother and visit all the time. Hang on, it's getting a little bit laggy, so let me fix this really quick. Options. Oh no, that's not good. Let me return to the title. But I used to come into the grocery with my brother all the time, and I didn't really know you at first. He kind of just would bring me along, and then eventually that's around the time Crisis Core was out, so I got super into that, and I don't exactly remember how we met, but I know my brother kind of introduced us, and then we started talking about Final Fantasy, and then basically it just sprung from there because I was super into Crisis Core, and so I'm like, all right, I gotta call him Sephiroth, obviously, because we kept talking.
That, but I think the first time I met you, I was wearing my black button-down dress shirt with my black pants and black shoes.
Oh, okay. It's been so long, man. I mostly just remember us talking about it, and then I'm just like, all right, that's it. That's it for now on. It's Sephiroth forever.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever. So every time I'd go into the grocery store from then on out, and that's half the time what I would talk to you about is Final Fantasy. Amongst other games, but that came later down the line. And we have played many games together. Now that I think about it, it's between Resident Evil and
Gears,
Wolfenstein, right? Some of it at least.
Yep, Wolfenstein multiplayer. I mean, we played a little bit of Youngblood. Was that the newest one?
Yeah, that's the newest one. I still got to finish that. I haven't beaten it. Is that why? Yeah, I gotta go back to the main menu. That's too bad. So, with Final Fantasy on the brain, I don't know if I ever really asked you. Maybe I did, but what is your introductory to Final Fantasy? What was the first game that you played, or your earliest memory of it?
First game I ever played was actually the very first one for NES.
Really?
Oddly enough, that was the last ditch effort for Square to make it in the gaming market.
How old were you at the time?
3 or 4.
Damn.
So like my grandparents got us a Nintendo, and then we had a handful of games. We had Caesar's Palace. We had obviously some of the Sesame Street games, but Final Fantasy ended up being one of them, and that was actually one of my favorites. And I remember playing that just over and over and over and over.
So, is it 1 and 2 that are on NES?
I believe they do have 2 for NES. I never played number 2. I just remember doing number 1, and then I remember playing 2 for SNES, which ended up being 5 later on, and then Final Fantasy 3, which turned out to be number 6 later on.
So you never beat 2?
I did beat 2. So, are we talking 2 on NES version?
Yeah.
No. Never played it. Honestly, I've been to Bookman's a lot of times, and I've never seen it there.
Huh.
So I don't know if it's just rare or what, but never played it. Because I mean, just imagine what the gaming market would be like had Final Fantasy actually not made it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, look at all the games that have drawn inspiration from it, like even your MMOs and stuff like that. Like, where would we be without it? But yeah, I remember playing the very first one, and I remember the very last level being like damn near impossible to beat. Just because you have to go through this extensive dungeon, and healing was a huge pain. You had to heal via either items or your magic spells, and obviously you can't regenerate any of your magic spells without using a tent or anything like that. But like it was a true testament of its time. Like just, and I remember the game came with a map, like a fold up map. It had
like in the box.
For what?
Like in the box, you mean?
Yeah, in the box. It came with a map. Like, it showed the entire map of the original Final Fantasy game, all the locations and stuff like that of where stuff was. And then when you flipped it on the back, it actually had every piece of weapon and armor and spell that each class could equip, along with the stats on it.
See,
so that was like your quote unquote strategy guide at the time was that.
And I don't remember because it's been so long since I've even played like the first one. I never beat like the original ones. But because I can't remember it, maybe I have it mixed up with Dragon Quest. But in the first Final Fantasy, when you got into a battle, did it just show the enemies or did it show your characters? Because I can't remember.
It characters too.
Okay.
So the biggest flaw with the first one when it came out was if you had all 4 of your guys, like you get into a battle, you got 2 enemies, and if you had all 4 of your guys attack one enemy, and if your first guy just ends up killing them, the rest of the people would just attack that enemy that died, and it would just say ineffective. So it wouldn't toggle to the next enemy like it would, like for your ATB battles. So that was one of the things that they ended up fixing in one of the later versions of it.
Did you ever play the because you had a PSP, right?
Yeah, I had a PSP.
Did you play like the I don't want to call them like remasters, but like the HD versions of 1 and 2? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I've got the first one. I think I got the first one. Tell you what, I think I got right here.
You still have them?
20th anniversary.
Oh, dope. Do you have the second one too?
I think it's just the first one. The only other one I have is Final Fantasy Tactics, the one we were talking about the other day. The one that super lags anytime that there's a magic spell or a summon.
On
the PSP just didn't have enough power to run it. It was like impossible to.
You know, that that system was like ahead of its time.
Everyone's been talking about.
Oh, I agree.
Pleasure.
In my opinion,
Name's
yeah.
Jean.
Like,
I work for Exonerus. We take the meteor shards that glaives like you collect.
so
and turn them
I'm trying to
into
figure out how to do it,
pretty cool, right?
like do
All
the
we
missions
need-
together, because it's like you have to undertake a quest, and then I think you have to matchmake the quest. Because I don't think we can just jump into each other's world. It's just like the quests.
I'm trying to look at the fly power of the city's facilities. So
Me too.
Which one do I want to do?
I guess I'll just start with the first one. Yeah.
Let's get things fired up.
This one?
Well, mine just got like that, so now I have that bottom tree.
So I'm gonna do this one. We're gonna do the apparel shop, I guess.
See ya.
Mission HQ is now operational,
These
so
tasks aren't for the faint
Okay.
of heart. Do you have what it takes?
form a party of up to 4 players and undertake multiplayer quests. Okay, so now we're literally at the same spot. Daily Infernal. Oh, there's dailies? Okay.
Not connect to the internet. I don't understand that.
Okay. Let me see. New
I don't
friends.
understand why it says.
The recording stopped instead of pausing, so that's super annoying. Well, anyways, if I gotta do it with 2 parts, then I'll do it with 2 parts. I'll see if I can put it together, but it's all good. Okay, so custom, new, friends, and then I gotta make a code. Yeah, I already did that. Okay.
A fine choice.
No comrades joined. Disband camp.
I wish you a safe return.
Okay, so
Oh, that's not a glitch.
what the fuck? So go up to that lady that you got the quest from. Yeah. All right, then do the bottom one. Okay, then press Y.
I can't press Y.
Custom then. Hit custom and then you should be able to press Y. Conditions. Yeah, inputted code. So it should be 1967. What the fuck? Try again. And then maybe try hitting new, because it says give the code to your friends if you create the room, or get theirs if they do. Now to find that room, hit triangle or Y to open conditions and set the code to that 4-digit one you're looking for. Once you've set that, you should see your friend's room pop up and be able to join it. Unfortunately, there isn't a faster way to join a friend's game or have them join your room in Final Fantasy VII 15 Comrades. I don't understand. I set it to friends. Because you can't just do that, like, outside of that, right? Let's see.
Okay. So I created it.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, just stay in yours and I'll see if I can join it. That's super annoying. Options. Did you make a code or anything?
No, it's just the same. 1967 was the code.
Okay.
Very well.
Requesting backup, waiting for comrades to join. Open menu, gear. Why's it gotta be so complicated?
I don't know why I can't just invite you. It's so stupid.
Team comrades.
Custom. Zach's camp.
Oh, you found it? Waiting for comrades to join? Oh, that's so stupid. Oh, so you are in it. I think.
There's Brian here. I don't know where you're at.
I think we got it. Yeah. That was so stupid. I don't know how that worked, but okay. Get Hellroth back alive. What? You can view details. Okay. The name and face of the icon. Alright. So quest begins when countdown reaches 0. Prepare for departure via camp menu. Okay. I mean, I don't really know what we can prepare. It's not like we have much. Saxham.
We're super long. Hold up now. Let me see that map right quick.
No, I got it. What is up with the map? Everybody wants to see the map. Alright, so I think we can just like prepare for departure because like I don't really know. We don't have gear, so out of all the Final Fantasies though, like what would you say is your favorite one? Well, let me rephrase that. Let's separate it. Out of 1 through 6. We'll start with that.
6,
as in the chronologically correct order.
So probably 6.
6.
Then 1. I think my least favorite out of all of them was probably 2. With Tyrion and all them, just because of I didn't really care for how the level up system was for that game.
For which one?
For number 2. So number 2, basically, the only way that you could level up or power yourself up was to either take a bunch of damage in battle, or if you wanted to get more MP for your person to cast spells, you had to cast spells in the middle of battle. And I didn't realize that until like way late in the game, just because, you know, I was young and didn't know any better. So it just kind of, I don't know. I didn't really care for it that much. Plus the storyline wasn't all that great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I only played 1 and 2 a little bit, and I didn't really play. I didn't really play them until the PSP version, which is sad, but at least I was introduced to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Final Fantasy, though, I mean, it's like it hasn't been like really one continuous story up until you hit the 13. Like 13 ended up coming up with 2 different offshoots for it. So it's not really like detrimental to somebody who hasn't played a lot of the other Final Fantasies. But you have to take it with a grain of salt that the later versions are going to be a little more well refined than the earlier ones. I mean, I know they've had the like their improvements and stuff like that, but you got to remember that like Final Fantasy 1 was created back in the late 80s. So, I mean, obviously like I said, they have made their improvements, but I think 1 will always have like a near and dear place for my heart, because
it was first.
That was my first experience with it.
Yeah.
And there's just so many different ways that you can play the first one, because the first one you were able to choose the 4 members of your party that you wanted to take. So I remember years down the line, like seeing people try to do a challenge where they beat the entire first game with a party of 4 white mages.
Oh yeah, I forgot, because you pick your party.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would always usually roll either 2 fighters or a fighter and a black belt, and then supplement it with a black mage and a red mage. Or if I didn't want a black mage, red mage, I would go probably black mage, white mage. And then white mages were just, you know, they were both pretty weak. I mean, they were strong, but they were pretty much made out of paper.
Oh shit. So I think for me at least, like the first time I ever played Final Fantasy was probably 7.
Yeah. But see, that's not a bad one to get into. I mean, granted, it was PlayStation polygons and like it had better graphics and all that, you know.
Yeah, of course, and I mean, again, compared to the other ones, it's like, don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy VII can get pretty intricate, but opinion-wise, like I think it's like a good introductory.
I think anything after 6 is considered a good introduction.
Sure. Yeah, I can agree with that.
So I mean, I think for like the younger generations, that's probably going to be the better go-to, because obviously everybody's going to have their different opinions on their favorite one. Because I know a lot of people who love 8, a lot of people who love 7, people who love 9 or 10. And that's what's good. Like the best thing about Final Fantasy is there's just so much variety with each different game. And I think that's what the fan base really loves, like the lovability of the different characters that you get to see, the different places and stuff like that, and then just the different experience that you can have with each and every game. So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Because it's just like every game. I mean, I can't really speak for like 3, 4, 5, and 6, but every game like past that I've seen, because again, I didn't really see 3, 4, 5, and 6, but like 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the themes of them are just so different. Like when you go through 7, it's like a mixture of, you know, like futuristic and then it being fantasy, so it's almost like a sci-fi game, which is probably why I liked that game so much.
Yeah.
And then like 8 on the other hand, it's a little more, I don't know, maybe you could speak better on it, but I think 8 in some sense is a little more cringy, but the style of it is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the one issue that I had with 8 was I didn't like the drawing of magic. That was
Yeah.
for me. That was the downfall for it. I mean, I understand like the GFs and all that, but I just think having to draw your magic rather than like learn it via, say, like in number 6, you were given espers where you would have to go do fights, and then each esper would give you a percentage amount. So every time you would gain, like, say, 1 AP or whatever you want to call it, one magic point, it would give you that certain percentage. So like different espers would give you, like, say, 20%. So in order for you to learn a spell, you would need to go learn 5 magic points, and then your character would permanently learn it. See, for Final Fantasy 8, you would need to draw
Let's dig in.
that magic for each character, for each different spell, and then equip it, and then yada yada. It just got a little too much, I felt like, at times, because if you weren't careful, there were times where you could essentially be stuck at a boss, and all your people would be healing the boss instead of you damaging him.
Right. See, that one I watched you play a little bit. It was like a long time ago, because I can't remember exactly, but we were doing it like on computer or something, and we were talking about it, and just the combat of that, sure, it's cool, but the yeah, like the magic basically. But anything like, I didn't get as much in. It's really hard to explain because I really like 8, but I didn't get into 8 as much as I did to 9. Because 9 was just fucking cool.
Yeah, because I think with 9, it sort of stepped away from
I foresee great things on your
like a lot of that sci-fi that you saw in 7 and part of 8. Because I would say 8 you would have like your sci-fi stuff. I think more towards the end of the game you would see a lot of that stuff, especially with, like, spoiler alert, the time travel and stuff like
I
that.
wish you a safe return.
But yeah, I mean, I think 9 was just a breath of fresh air for a lot of people, and I think the characters were extremely likable, because I know a lot of people who like Vivi.
Well, yeah, Vivi's just awesome. I did the daily one.
A daily?
Yeah. Just try doing quick play and see if it joins it. I don't think there's anybody else playing 15 except us.
Probably not.
Yep, so you joined. But yeah, like, no, the theme of 9 was just really cool, and that's see, that's where it gets really difficult for me, because a lot of that kind of stuff, like medieval type of stuff, I'm like, meh. But, you know, Austin showed me 9, well, and 7, of course, but it wasn't until I played most of 7 to where I could appreciate 9 more, like that type of gameplay, because, you know, by the time those games were out, like, I was still little at the time. So once I was able to actually play them, like, 9 was super cool. Like, I can't remember it for the life of me, but it's, you know, one of the iconic scenes, man, where you do the freaking the fencing, and it's like side scrolling.
Yeah, you gotta hit the buttons, and you know, I think that's what, like, a big draw for a lot of the Final Fantasy games are. Like, if they suck you in, bring you into the action right away, I think it creates a more, like, desirable environment. Like, especially with 9, because, like, okay, you're like this ragtag bunch of, like, for lack of a better term, like pirates. So
yeah, that's what it is.
You get in there, you put on the show, and then, like, it like I said, it just draws you in.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Like, with I can't speak on all of them again, but, like, at least most of the Final Fantasies, the stories are, at least for me, what, like, mostly grabbed me. Like 7, you just get sucked into that, man, and then, like, with 9, that kind of pulled me in, and then it's like with 15, I mean, I'd probably say, like, I really like 15, but it's probably my least favorite out of the ones that I have played.
Yeah.
Like, combat-wise, but the characters were cool, man.
Well, I mean, going back to even like Final Fantasy VII, because it's like if you start off jumping off the train, like just think of like the music that was playing. It's like upbeat, it's like intense, and then you're like, okay, you're this guy, you're following this group called Avalanche, and then like what's the first thing you do? You go bomb a reactor.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's like, holy shit! Like we're in this now. Like I don't know what's happening, but like we're gonna do it. You know?
Yeah, dude, exactly, and that's where it got me. And it's like Final Fantasy has the how can I put this? They have the freedom to give you something serious, but then also be extremely silly. The creativity,
Yeah.
I guess. Because it's
I
like,
would agree with that, because I mean,
yeah,
like a lot of the games have that, like you say, silliness, but they also have that like relaxing, calming nature of it. So like, let's go back to Final Fantasy VII. Like you had the gold saucer.
yeah, yeah. That's a good example.
Just spend all your money, or even Fort Condor. You could use your money to go do that sort of like quote unquote mini game. I mean, they even had like the snowboarding. They had the submarine level.
Oh, I forgot about the fucking snowboarding.
Yeah, yeah. You could like unlock the different paths and stuff like that. Collecting all the balloons. Like even the bike scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you look at Final Fantasy VIII. You had the card game. You could go in because I think that was a side quest in order to get some of the best stuff. Was to go play the top members of whatever the card game was in order to get the different powerful ones. And then nine had a different version of the card game, but. And then 10, like look at 10. 10 had Blitzball. It
Yeah,
had,
Blitzball.
like the monster arena. Let's see, what else did it have? I mean, Blitzball alone, I spent hours and hours playing that. I mean, yeah, you needed to play it if you wanted to get like all the best stuff, but just the enjoyment factor that you get from it, because when you first start playing it, it's pretty difficult. I mean, once you get your team leveled up and stuff like that, it's not so bad, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, 10 I never really got into. I tried playing 13, but I just couldn't do it, dude. Like, maybe I'll give it another try, but
I think with 13, the biggest letdown for me with that was by the time it got to the open world aspect of it, you were already like 2/3 of the way done with the game. Because they pretty much just
right.
the entire way. And I think that's where like a lot of people lose the desirability for it, because like they want the freedom to go wherever they want. Like they want the exploring aspect of it. So if you take that away, it's going to be like a little bit of a harder sell in my opinion. So, but I never played 13-2 or 13-3 Lightning Return. So.
So, excluding all of the MMOs, like if you had to pick one, which one would you say is your favorite then? Like out of all of them?
Out of all of them?
Like you can only have one.
I gotta go with Final Fantasy VI, which ended up being Final Fantasy III on Super Nintendo, just because like
Glad you made it back.
I would play that game for hours and hours and hours, and there's just always something to do. Just like the likability of the characters and stuff like that. I think a big fan favorite for one of the characters is a lot of people say his name differently. I call him Sabin. A lot of people call him Sabin.
It's quite therapeutic.
I guess it's however you want to refer to it, but he's like a martial artist, and he's got the special ability called Blitz, and then like you learn different blitzes throughout the game. And there's actually a boss called the Phantom Train, and you know it's an actual like a ghost train that you get a fight at the end. And then I think a lot of people really like it because he has a technique called suplex, and he actually lifts the train up and then slams it on the ground. And then I've like come across people like while I'm watching like online streams and stuff like that, and it's the guy's handle name was Sabin Suplexes Trains. So it's like a running continuous joke about it. So it's, but like a lot of the characters are very very well done. Like, and there's just so many of them. I think there's a total of 16 or 17 that you can get for your party.
Wow, really? In 6?
Yeah.
And that's on Super Nintendo, right? Or is that on
That's
PlayStation?
on Super Nintendo, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty, like, that's a lot for that. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, going from Final Fantasy 1 to 3, that's pretty much where I jump. So you're going from this party of 4 that you create to selecting 4 people out of a party of a lot. I mean, it's just like the variety of it, because I mean, you get a Moogle, you can get like there's Terra, she's half Esper, half human. There's Celeste, she's like magic infused warrior. There's Locke, he's like your master thief. You got Edgar, he's your essentially your royalty king of Figaro. Sabin is his brother. He's the martial artist. You've got Setzer, he's like your professional gambler who owns the airship. You've got Mog, who's your Moogle. You got Umero, who's your like monkey type guy, I guess. You've got a guy named, I call him Gau, G-A-U. People call him Gao. He's like your guy that you use to learn the different attacks and abilities of different monsters. So you can choose whichever monster that you've learned techniques from. Let's see, who else? We got Strago. He's like the old magician type wizard guy. He's got his granddaughter Realm, who's like an artist. She can do sketches. Sort of like imitates the monster attacks, sort of like God does. There's Go-Go. His main thing is he can mimic attacks. Who else am I missing?
What's up?
Cyan. There's a guy named Cyan. He's one of the knights of Doma Castle. He's an interesting character because his entire kingdom gets poisoned by the main villain of the game. So his whole thing is he's out for his revenge. There's another guy. His name is Shadow. He's sort of like your how do I want to describe him? He's like a hired professional who pretty much does certain jobs and stuff like that. And then there's actually a part of the game where called the Floating Continent. So you go there, And then if you end up leaving right away versus waiting for him, you actually end up not being able to have him the second half of the game.
And see, that's another thing that I think is crazy, is it's shit like that you have to think about some of those choices. It seems like that with a lot of the Final Fantasies. It's like you have to decide like certain things that you want to do or don't do. Like with 7, it's like you can miss some of those characters, right? Like with Yuffie. Like you don't have to get Yuffie.
Yeah, she's optional. You don't have to get her.
Or even Sid for that matter, right?
No, you have to have Sid.
You do?
Yeah.
Vincent, though, on the other hand, you don't.
And then Vincent. Vincent would be the other one that you can miss.
See you around.
So it all just depends. I mean, are you really missing much if you don't do Yuffie? I mean, you don't have her little side quest there in Wutai, which no big loss because it's just sort of a pain in the ass because she steals all your stuff.
So long.
But I'm trying to think. I don't think in 8 you can miss anybody, and I think in 9 you can miss Quina, right?
I don't remember. Because in 9, alright, you have Zidane, Dagger, Vivi, Steiner. What's the big one?
Freya?
No, not Freya. The goofy one. It's a Moogle, right? Or no, not the. It's not the Moogle. It's the cat. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Armand or Aramont or
I can't remember.
It's not the one with the spear, right? It's the guy with the claws.
Yeah, it's like the cat that sits on top of that big. I'm trying to remember what it is. Let me see. 9.
I think you're thinking of 7. Kate Sith.
Yeah, that's what I am thinking of as Kate Sith, but I'm pretty sure they have. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe is it Artemicon? Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Because I swore there was like a Kate Sith character in 9.
I don't think so.
Oh, and then yeah, I forgot about Armand.
Yeah. His whole thing is trying to get back at Zidane the whole game. Yeah, I would suggest anybody who's watching this, like, if you get the chance, definitely play Final Fantasy VI. It is very enjoyable because, like, just the way that it starts out, you're just like, okay, you got this. You're this. Well, I don't want to ruin it, but you're essentially this girl who's pretty much been a slave via a crown, and then you don't know who you are until the main protagonists come in and help you out. So it's definitely a very enthralling storyline.
I think they have 6 on Steam. I want to say they have just about all of them now on Steam.
Yeah, they did a remaster, repixel versions of 1 through 6 that came out this past year. So they do have them. So if they go on sale, I would say pick them up
tomorrow.
But as far as like how they are port wise, I don't know, because I know that they've come out with several ported versions of it, and people have just been kind of disappointed by it.
We'll see, because I'm pretty sure it's 4, 3, and 5. They did it on the 3DS, but they changed the art style, so it's like 3D-ish. And I don't know if those versions are on PC, like on Steam. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but we could take a look.
Yeah.
Just pull it up.
Just out of curiosity. I'll search it real quick.
Doesn't look like it.
No, it just looks like it's kind of remastered, like the resolution and stuff like that. No, but you know what I'm talking about though, right? Like on the 3DS where they changed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they would have to because I mean, with like your handheld, yes, you could have it, but I think the 3DS was more catered towards having it as a 3D experience. So yeah, I'm looking at Final Fantasy VI right now, and they've got. Handful song. It was a lot of thumbs downs. I think it's because people wanted the soundtrack with it.
Man,
don't get me wrong. Soundtrack is pretty amazing for it. So.
Like, speaking of that, thinking about it now, I remember probably around the time that 9 came out, like, I specifically remember my brother had the soundtrack for Final Fantasy 9, like, on CD. Yeah. I don't know where he got it, but that was pretty cool. It was like a big 2-disc, like, box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because I mean, like you can even buy them off of Amazon. The problem is they're super expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean at this point, a lot of this stuff is like collector's items, and especially with how old it is. I mean,
well, I'm talking like they've done like orchestra versions of them.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know if you did it yet, but that one right there, the Power. I've been distributing Power to different ones, so I just started going for it because you get all of them basically, and they unlock like different things to purchase and craft and stuff like that.
Hey, you're a member of the Kingsglaive, right? I don't mean to bother you.
Yeah, Iris.
Would you be interested in
I forgot about her, the chick that likes Noctis.
all used. I actually sewed some of them myself. Anyway, have a look if you got a second.
Sure. You can't like preview it? That sucks. So you can get different hair, gloves, shirts.
I don't have enough power to do the 600 one.
Come again.
I guess we gotta go do another quest.
Yeah, but I only see 2 quests. It's just the daily and then the Grulessa Gone Wild. It's like the only 2 that I see.
Guess we're doing that one again, huh?
I guess so.
I just did custom.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll do quick play now, so it should join it. See, for me, I mean, obviously, I think when it comes down to it, like, all the, like, my favorite Final Fantasy is gonna have to be Crisis Core, because I'm a sucker for it.
Yep. See, that's what I'm excited for, the
reunion.
The new version of it, like the updated version of it, because like
yes,
it isn't so long since I played it. I think I played it when it first came out, and that was the only time. And then when tried picking it up last year,
and it was hard to play, right?
Huh?
Was it hard to play?
No, my PSP wasn't working right.
Oh.
So my batteries had ended up like expanding to where they no longer fit inside the PSP.
Yikes.
And then every time I tried to I'm going to disband that because you didn't join.
Just do quick play. I was trying to, but I guess it just didn't do it. Yeah, set it as quick play. That'll be our best way to do this. That sucks, dude. Like, I still have my PSP Go. So I mean, like all mine's just digital. Do you have Crisis Core, like the physical, like UMD?
Yeah, I've got the physical copy. Let's see if I can
Damn, I wish I had that. The only thing I have left of Crisis Core is the poster. It's put away right now, but I have like that long. It's like a vertical poster of Zack. Yeah, that's sick.
Yep.
My
I don't have the heart to get rid of all of my my video games.
Did you do the daily hunt? Or...
I'm like, eh.
Thank you.
There we go. Let me try that one. Well, like I'm the same. Basically, at this point, I've been like collecting all of my video games. Like, so one of my off-subject quests is to collect the mini consoles. So I have a Super Nintendo Mini. I want to get an NES Mini, and then
Got that too. Got both of those. The only one I don't have yet is the PlayStation.
I want that too, the PlayStation Classic, and then I also want the Commodore 64 Classic. But one I want to get, I don't want to drop the money on it right now, is the Atari VCS.
Yeah, what's that gonna set you back?
$300. Yeah, you can buy like a fucking PS4 for that shit.
If you can find one.
Fair enough. But it's just cool to have, like, especially like for my kids.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to have all of these discs, and some I do, but it's just, you know, when we were kids, with as rough as we were with games. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was. It's just easier to have the digital versions.
Yep.
But see, the one thing that I am worried about, though, and I don't know if you noticed it in the trailer, but I did, is the voice. Did you notice the voice was different?
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, you'll probably notice it at first, but I think if they don't change the story up too much for it,
It should be fine.
it should be okay. You would hope, but
Well,
again, you don't know.
it's just hard because it's stuck in my head, you know, like when you first hear Zack, like for the first time, and he's got that, you know, goofy little boy, like, voice, and then once he becomes a man, and you hear that scene, and you know, he says, "Embrace your dreams," and I can't remember it. It's "Embrace your dreams with honor" or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. But when you hear it, because his voice changes, because you go through the time, like the time jump. But regardless, I've been waiting for that for so long. Like, as soon as they announced, you know, the FF7 remake, I'm like, man, they gotta do fucking Crisis Core.
I think it was just going to be a matter of time, though, with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, like I don't know, I just feel like a lot of gaming companies are sort of afraid to undertake newer projects because
Yeah.
they may not pan out like they want them to. So in other words, they're just kind of like playing it safe by redoing what they've already done in the past. And I think they realize that it's going to be like quote unquote a cash cow. Because there were a lot of people who wanted the Final Fantasy remake. I mean, now with the Part 2 coming out, and then with the other versions of it coming out, you're gonna make quite a bit of money on it. But I mean, it also gives them the opportunity to explore more of the backgrounds of like the intro to the game.
Right.
Because I knew, like, I haven't played the new one, the new remake yet, but Like I know that they really went in depth with like a lot of the side plot and some of the other characters with it, especially like the members of Avalanche.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I won't give away too much because you haven't played it, and I haven't played much. But it's like I forgot the chick's name, but it's the first chick in the very beginning, dude. Like, you know who I'm talking about. She's with Avalanche, and she's got her eye on Cloud. Like, they get they get a little more in depth with that kind of stuff.
I think it was Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse, that's it. Thank you. But I was laughing because, you know, in the old Final Fantasy in 7, the original one, like when you would go into a battle, there would be a sequence, and then you would do your turn base, win the battle, and then you would get your experience from it. Yep. But because of how it is now, it doesn't work that way. Like, there's no sequencing, you know, cutting from one type of gameplay to another.
Yeah.
So when you win the battle, it doesn't, you know, do the famous da 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 da.
Sword shit. Yeah.
But Barrett will do that shit. It's so funny, man. So you'll win and you'll just hear Barrett going da 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 da.
I mean, it's like how it was in 15 with Prompto.
Prompto, yeah, Prompto.
He would want to fight, he would do it.
Yeah. I was not a big fan of his at first, but once I started going further and further and further, I'm like, all right, this boy band shit, these boys are tight.
We're getting the band back together. Because that's essentially what it was like when you first saw the previews for it.
Yep. So, have you played any of, like, the odd Final Fantasies? Like, going back to Nintendo, for example, have you ever played Mystic Quest?
Yes. Yeah, Mystic Quest was interesting because, like, you would only ever have a party of 2. Tops.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I played that one.
My buddy got me into a Mystic Quest because he had it.
Who?
I mean, we both had Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo, but he also had Mystic Quest for it. Well, I borrowed that, and I played that game like crazy too.
Your brother?
So I think I have it, Super Nintendo. I think I ended up buying it from Bookman's. But that's buried in the closet. I'm not gonna dig that one out.
Yeah, no. But did you ever have like a Nintendo DS?
No.
Okay, so
I never had like a lot of the handhelds after Game Boy, just because I don't know if it was because like a lot of the newer games that came out for those didn't really like catch my eye at the time. I think that like after N64, Nintendo kind of took a back seat for me. Just because, like, with the powerhouses of the introduction of the Xbox and then the PlayStation 2 and stuff like that, so that's where like a lot of my game time went. After that, I mean, I ended up getting a Wii eventually, but
which had Crystal Chronicles. Did you play that?
I never did play Crystal Chronicles because that was for GameCube, right?
Or
they had a version of it for GameCube.
There is the GameCube one, yes. I think there's a couple of them for GameCube, but there was one for Wii. I think it is Crystal Chronicles. Crystal... What is that one? Crystal Bearers is what that one's called. And then there's also the Echoes of Time, which was on DS.
No, I never played any of the... I guess you want wouldn't say they're off-brand, but you know what I mean, like the ones away
the spin-offs, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Because there's is that one on anything else? Which one is that one?
Talk of the town, kid. Next to those photos.
Let me see. Fantasy X. Okay, yeah. So, like a while ago, you were playing 12, right?
Yep.
So, if you're ever interested in it, there is another game to 12. It is on the DS, but it's called Revenant Wings.
Talk of the town, kid.
So that's like another expansion type of one.
Yeah. Now, does that one take place before, after, during? Well,
that one I only played a little bit of. Let me see. Fantasy XII. Yeah, Revenant Wings. Says taking a place a year after Vaughn.
yeah, that's after 12.
Vaughn and his friends brought peace to the world of Ivalis.
Yep. It's happened.
Yeah. See, I played like some of the odd ones a little bit. Like there's the Four Heroes of Light, and then Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates. So, Ring of Fates is kind of like a hack and slash. Here, I'll join it. Which one did you do, the daily or?
I'm actually helping out this lady, and it's a solo quest.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to go help her out and do that real quick.
Where did you find that?
She was at the northern part of the town.
Okay. But Ring of Fates it's like a cute little kids game basically. Like you play as two little kids, like a brother and sister, and I don't remember the whole storyline, but yeah, like the gameplay, it's more of like a hack and slash type of thing, but it's top down. It's pretty good, you know. It's like that general type of story where it's like little kids and then they set out on an adventure, and over time they get stronger and better and etc. and that type of thing. But it's cool. Some of those side ones are pretty cool. And then going back to tactics, because see, you're talking about the PSP one, which was on PS1, right?
Correct.
Yeah. The one I played, which I think you might also like, was the one on Game Boy Advance. So that one is another one that's kind of weird and has to do with like time travel, I think. But it's just like a group of kids is how the game starts. But that one was pretty crazy too. Like some of them I just didn't have enough time to really get into because there's so many.
And that's the thing, is like a lot of the Final Fantasies can be a time sink, and they can be like, I don't want to say a chore, but there are times where you need to like take the time to level and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like with 7, for example, like, oh my god, dude, getting Knights of the Round? That was a fucking chore.
You just had to get lucky with like your breeding and stuff like that.
Yeah, the chocobos. Oh, you can clean your clothes? Okay. And I take it you didn't really play any of the phone games, did you?
No.
Just to bring those up. I know they're not really great, but like,
aren't some of them aren't even around anymore?
Yeah, like the only one that I legitimately enjoyed was I think it's called Morbius.
Yeah,
Or
and that one's not around, is it?
no, they shut the servers down for that, and that was really cool because it was a portrait mode game. I know it's not really important, but I like some of the like games to be like that on a phone that are portrait. It's just a cool different style, but yeah, like that one was interesting. And then they had a Dissidia one, which was just like kind of an autoplay type of game. You just build a party, you get characters from all the games, and it just never ends basically. But that's speaking of that, that's one I never really got to get into or get to play was Dissidia. Did you play those?
I have the first Dissidia, but I never got into it just because I didn't really care for like a lot of the representations of some of the characters that they had in there.
We could always use more media shards.
Because they kind of didn't really
While you're out in the field.
match up with how I remembered some of them in the games that I played. Sort of like a conflict of character.
And the gameplay at least looked pretty interesting.
I older, I guess, in a sense.
You're the talk of the town, kid, thanks to those photos.
And then I'm trying to think of, man, there's so many of them, dude. There's so many freaking Final Fantasies. It's insane. Because there's another one that's like a Dissidia battle one that's like on PS4 and PC, I think. And it's like third person hack and slash, and it's not like a remake, it's a whole nother Dissidia game. You see, I can't remember what it was. Fantasy. I think it's NT. Yeah, Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. It's a fighting game with action role-playing elements. That's the one that's on PC.
Great work today.
No, I've never played that one. But I know they got another one. Was it Brave Exodus or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's Brave Exodus or something like that. Well, I guess I take back one of my previous statements, but like besides Morbius, I liked I liked Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. I had to bring that up. It's fun. It just depends on which version you play, because if you play the phone version, the combat, even though it's this, they have it on the phone and on the Switch, but the Switch version is better because you have control over the characters when you're in battle. If you play it on the phone, then it's kind of like it auto plays, and you just have to like pick which enemy they're attacking and then dodge, and then use magic and potions and stuff like that. But for the most part, they just fight for themselves.
See, I don't know. That doesn't really feel like Final Fantasy to me if you don't have control over all of your characters, you know?
That's play the Switch version, man. If you ever wanted to play the Pocket version. What's this lady want? Oh, I think I have more. Yeah, now I have 600, so I can unlock it.
I'd say the future is bright.
Good to see you.
What'd you just unlock?
I think I just got all of it, so I just did like the last one on the bottom, which is the Lavelle Square power station.
Yeah, so once you do that, that lady will ask you for help.
Well,
Oh, okay.
North, I believe.
turn to get to work.
Huh?
Did that lady ask you for help?
Yeah, I
Come up here and make a quest.
I just now unlocked that quest.
Yeah, I just finished that quest, so.
Yes, I'll go do it really quick.
It doesn't take very long.
Well.
And because we haven't mentioned it yet, I know of it, I've seen it, but I haven't beaten it. And we've talked about it before, but fucking Dirge of Cerberus.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope they do a remaster for it.
Yeah, that would be really cool too, because I played that a little bit. I had it on PS2, and I did like the gameplay. I know you were saying before like it wasn't really well received, but...
Well, I think it wasn't well received because I'm not sure if a lot of people enjoyed Vincent as a character in 7.
I did.
enjoyed him. Like, I liked his backstory. I mean, I really enjoyed that. You know, he was part of the Turks, and then he ended up becoming what he was via like the experiments and stuff like that. So
Yeah, dude. Vincent's fucking badass.
and I think I really liked when he was doing his like transformations for his limit break.
Yeah, right. Because each character, is it four limit breaks?
It depends. There's 4 tiers of limit breaks, so most characters have 2 per. So like Cloud would have Braver and then Cross Slash, and then his tier 2 would be Blade Beam and Clim Hazard, and then was a Meteor Rain and what was the other one? Meteor Rain and something else, and then he had Omni.
We said Braver, right?
So he had 4, Barrett had 4, Tifa had 4. I think Aerith had she had 4 tiers, but usually a lot of people wouldn't use it. Like I don't think I've ever seen her final limit break. I don't think I ever grinded enough with her to get it.
Yeah, because
in order for you to unlock the second one of tier 1, you had to use the first limit break. I think it was like 7 times or something like that. Then in order to unlock the first one on tier 2, you had to kill so many enemies. And then I think it was rinse and repeat. You had to use the tier 1 X amount of times, and then so yeah, just killing that many enemies with her was just sort of like a chore. It seemed like, just because she was so weak physically. I mean, obviously she had magic and stuff.
See, another thing that I was thinking about, which I really doubt that they'll do, is put in the remake, is the weapons. Like, I don't really know how they could incorporate that. If they do, I'd be surprised, but...
Oh, the 3 different weapons?
Yeah.
Here's a couple of them.
In the remake?
No, I'm saying in Final Fantasy VII there was the Emerald, Ruby, Ultima.
It's just 3, right?
Diamond. There's Diamond. I don't know which one it was that got shot in the face outside of June. I don't remember. I know you have to fight Diamond. You fight him outside of Midgar as he's running in there. He gets a hole blasted through him. And then that's what opens up the northern crater.
I just, I don't know how they could put those in that game. Like, if they do, it would be pretty fucking crazy, because it's like... Oh, oops. Well, how does that work? My HP's gone.
Did you die?
Oh, you just regenerate magically. Okay. No, my health hit 0, and so I was just like limping and couldn't attack, so I had to like run away. And same thing, now my health hit 0 again, so now I'm limping. But like the first battle, for example, like in the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII, like when you do that in the remake, dude, that thing is huge. So I can't imagine how big the fucking weapons are.
Well, not only that, but then you got to think of the underwater weapon, the Emerald weapon. You know, because you have to run into them with your submarine, and if you don't have the underwater materia, then you have, was it 10 minutes to kill them? Or is it 20 minutes? 10 or 20?
10 or 20 minutes, something like that.
And then I just thought, like, a lot of people are always like, oh, you know, I gotta have like my maxed out materia and this and that, and it's just like, well, if you go fight the emerald weapon and you're maxed out on materia, then all of his attacks are just going to murder you because it just amplifies his attacks. So if you don't, if you go in there with minimal materia, then you can actually stand a better chance against him. Food for thought.
See the way, because like, did you get Knights of the Round? I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yeah. So you do use like the W2 or whatever, right? Is it W2?
So you use the W summon.
Well, is that's the one where it like duplicates the attack, right?
So W summon is where you can use 2 summons in one turn, as long as you have the MP, and then you can do mimic with your the materia, and just copy the attack. So,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people with like their strategy with the ruby weapon was they would cast Hades against the ruby weapon as their first one, which would essentially cause the spell stop to work against him, and then they would use Knights of the Round, and then follow it up with another mimic of Hades and Knights of the Round, but the Hades would miss.
What do you say?
And then you would be able to get, I think, 2 mimics off before he becomes unfrozen again, and then he attacks you. So it's
Looking brighter already.
a lot of strategy involved with the ruby weapon. I think the biggest thing that surprised me was I think you can one-hit kill each of them. I know you can one-hit kill the emerald weapon with Kate Sith's limit break. You just got to get the 3 pieces of the cat face. And they'll just one-shot him. I think you can also one-shot him with Vincent's death penalty. But in order to do that, you got to kill a lot of people. Like you got to defeat a lot of enemies with Vincent, because each enemy you defeat increases the chance of death penalty casting death on people.
Very well.
I just did a new quick play server.
Take care.
Alright, so you did beat it?
Yeah, I beat it. And I did the bottom one. Yeah, the level 4.
Web?
Yep. And I know, again, it's a phone game, but I am curious about Ever Crisis. Like, that one looks kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because I like them when they're like that, and it's not just that gotcha bullshit like the other ones where it's just autoplay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was my biggest one. Another big dislike of 13 was just, yeah, you had the ability to choose your attacks, but it was mostly just auto click.
Right.
And I didn't like that about it.
It just takes away from the whole fucking experience, in my opinion.
Not only that, but I feel like it's the strategy behind it. I mean, yeah, you can shift your paradigms and stuff like that, but it just didn't have the same feel to it.
Yeah. Well, and see, it kind of goes back with 13, at least talking about what we were saying earlier. Like, yeah, they have the freedom, you know, to be goofy and whatnot, but 13 was just fucking, like, too goofy, man. Like, it was too goofy for me.
Yeah, I think Zaz was one of the big things that I didn't like about it either. He had the chocobo chick in his hair, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care for Snow.
That's the blonde dude, right?
Yeah, the guy with the beanie.
Yeah, Mr.
And
Trying to be cool.
Really care for Hope. I didn't really care for like a lot of the characters. Like, I didn't care for Vanille. I think I liked Fang. I liked Lightning. And I think that was it. Sad to say.
Or like, what about 10-2? Did you beat 10-2?
I played it once. I didn't really care for it because if you wanted to get the true ending, you had to play it through twice because in the beginning it gives you a choice to pick a certain sphere. I think if I recall correctly, and then on your second gameplay you had to pick the other one. And then in order to get the true ending, you had to collect all the spheres from the game.
That just sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it felt like it.
Well, and it's just... so I watched my brother play through 10, and like, I just don't like the direction that they went with 10-2. It's like Yuna's running around with guns and shit, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, 7, the remake, it feels nothing like this. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like with this, you tap and it's like they do a set of an attack, if that makes sense, like a sequence. But like in 7, it's like every time you tap it, it's another slash. So you have like complete control of your hack and slash, basically. Nice. Did you end up, maybe I asked you already, but did you end up beating 12?
You know, I got to the very end and I don't think I finished it. But I can just fire it up at any time because it should still have my,
save.
Yeah, the cloud save on there. I don't know, I was just kind of at the point where I was spending too much time gaming.
Yeah.
Really, like, don't get me wrong, gaming is a good outlet, but like there were personal goals that I wanted to accomplish in order to.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And again, like what we were saying earlier with Final Fantasy in general, it you can't just pick up and play Final Fantasy for 20 minutes. Like, it's time consuming.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And each one is like that. So you have to be willing to put forth the time and effort into it in order to get the best experience possible out of it.
For sure. And yeah, no, I agree with that, because it's like, as much as I love video games too, like, goals, man. You can definitely spend too much time.
I mean, like, as you get older, you've got different things that you got to worry about. Because I mean, back when you were kids, what did you have to worry about? You had to worry about school, homework, and
video games.
Pretty much summer vacation was just full of video games. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like nowadays, because, not to get off topic, but like Resident Evil 4, for example, as much as I know that game like the back of my hand, I'm not as good as I used to be. Like, I go back and play that every so often, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, it's going to be pretty much like any game. I mean, I think Final Fantasy would be more easier than other games because, like, a lot of them are the turn-based combat.
Right. So there's not too much thinking involved.
No, well, I mean, you can always just set it to active or non-active.
Right.
So if you don't want to do like active turn-based and just like take your time with it per battle, I mean, you can do that. So. Unlike this, where it's like just open combat, you just run through and do whatever, you know?
Yeah. So See, I think with this one at least, like one of the things I enjoyed most is definitely the world and then the exploration of it.
Yeah.
Because that kind of just sucks you in, man. Like you want to explore different places and just see different things, and it's a really, really big map in general. And it's like it's kind of hard because when you get to further sections of the game, it's like you can't really go backwards. And there's a point to once you get far enough, you can't go back. So it's like you need to do everything you want to do in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
Ooh, a sandwich. I've come up with a new recipe.
Again sometime. It's quite therapeutic.
I don't know how I leveled up just barely more than you. That's weird. I've been doing the same missions.
I was always curious, like because I don't have one, but there is Final Fantasy 15 VR.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's not this though. It's like its own game, and I think you play as like Prompto or something, and you have guns, some shit like that. So it's just like an experience, but yeah, there's so many of them because it's like there's like one I'm trying to think of. It's like Final Fantasy 0 or something. They released it on Steam. I think is it Type 0? Yeah, Final Fantasy Type 0.
Yeah, I think when that originally came out, it was supposed to be 15?
Really?
It was supposed to be 15, but then they ended up changing it to like its own different game, I think. Because it had been a while since a Final Fantasy had come out.
We're bringing the light back to Lucis.
Or maybe it was 13. I can't remember.
And then I don't know what's up with that new one. The new one, like, I think just came out. Like Stranger of Paradise or something.
Oh yeah, where they have the Garland story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about watching that trailer when it came out. But I mean, maybe that's just me. I'm probably biased just because I have played the first one.
It didn't really look interesting to me because I thought, like, whatever happened to 16? Like, is that 16?
No, 16's still coming out. 16's a whole different game. So
Jeez,
I'm
man.
curious what's going to happen with that.
They just don't look that interesting. It's like, sure, the remakes and all that stuff, I'm like, awesome. But, like, some of the newer ones, I'm like, meh. But that's how it was with 15. Like, I didn't play 15 until way later.
Yeah.
And then I ended up really enjoying it.
I don't know what just happened to the storyline.
I don't know what's going on.
What happened? I blacked out.
You just took a fucking dart in your neck, man. That's awesome.
Whoa. Yeah.
I like you, man. But you're crazy.
You're crazy. But you're crazy.
Good job, Glaive.
Raw.
Where the hell are we gonna put it?
Dude, just French kiss me.
Yeah, speaking of rest, you must be beat. It's written all over your face.
Alright, how much power I got left?
Sword of Lucis, you have liberated my soul.
Damn.
Well, I cannot lift the cross that you bear.
All the way back to the
protection.
All the way back to the city.
Help shoulder that burden.
Stop.
And since we haven't really talked about the the cinema subject of it yet. Like I know you've seen Advent Children, and I mean I'll throw it in there. I know it's terrible, but yeah, Spirits Within.
Eric Bowling.
Exactly.
I think he was in there, right?
He was. I forgot who all was in that movie until I threw it on like a couple of weeks ago just for background noise, and I'm like, that's fucking Steve Buscemi. Like,
Mr. Pink.
So there's Advent Children, there's Spirits Within, and then there's Kingsglaive. And then there is one more, which I was curious if you've seen. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I gotta Google it real quick. Soon. Movies?
I can barely keep up with it.
Let me see. Oh no, I'm still trying to think of a specific one, but then there's also, what's the other Final Fantasy VII like anime movie? You know what I'm talking about?
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
Last Order. Final Fantasy VII Last Order. That's one of them. That's not the one I was thinking of, but if you haven't seen that, I'd be surprised.
It doesn't look familiar.
That's one you need to check out then, if you haven't seen it.
Watching the preview for it now. It takes on during the events of the reactor, right? While they're up there, we find out about Genova.
Yeah, pretty sure it's just like kind of retelling.
It's only 25 minutes long.
Yeah, no, it's not that long.
Maybe I have seen.
So there's Last Order, and then the one that I'm thinking of, it's like I don't really know if it's based off any of the games. I don't think so, but it's called The Legend of the Crystals. It's like a cartoon movie. Don't know that one either?
No. Oh, that was a long time ago. 94?
Yeah.
No.
I went on like a mission to find some of the movies because I'm like, there's got to be more than just Kingsglaive and freaking Advent Children. So I went and tried to find all the other ones because there's another Final Fantasy 15 movie too, Brotherhood. That one's like animated.
Spirits Within, Last Order, Advent Children, Final Fantasy Unlimited?
The fuck is that?
Two siblings trying to find their missing parents based off of the best-selling game series by Square Enix.
25 episodes? Well, we gotta watch it now.
Put it on the board. The Final Fantasy Legend? I don't know if that's... Mr. Quest.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Final Fantasy Legend, that's on the Game Boy, right?
Yeah. I never played any of the Game Boy ones. I know they had a bunch of them, though. Chocobo Dungeon? Chocobo Dungeon 2?
Oh my god, man.
Chocobo Racing?
I know that one. That's on PS1, right?
Which one?
Chocobo Racing?
I believe so. Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, that's the one you were talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Crystal Chronicles, Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's so many of them, it's like near impossible to play all of them.
Before Crisis, Final Fantasy 7. Set 6 years before Final Fantasy VII, Before Crisis centers on the Turks who set out to end the menace of the Shinra Company by a group of rebels called Avalanche. That's for PSP?
Apparently so. Is it even in America?
You know, that I don't know.
Because I'm looking at pictures for it, it's like all in Japanese. Interesting. Yeah, there's so many, man.
I think it was only released in Japan.
Before Crisis?
Yeah. Yeah, it was only released in Japan.
If you get the chance, you should definitely watch Last Order, because it's only 25 minutes. And then, like, Brotherhood was pretty cool, too.
Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift. Final Fantasy Fables. Crystal Chronicles, Rings of Fate. Crystal Chronicles, My Life as a King. Dissidia. Crystal Chronicles, Echoes of Time. Crystal Chronicles, Crystal Bearers.
Oh, and then I completely forgot. Like, let me see. There's another one. I can't remember if it's Super Nintendo. Or no, it's Game Boy. Final Fantasy Adventure. That's another one.
Yeah.
War of the Visions.
So, I mean, I played a lot of them. Like, a lot. But the original, though, for NES, oh, man.
Explorers. Agito. Final Fantasy Artnix.
$1987 it came out.
The first one?
Yep.
Yeah, like you could spend like a lifetime playing all all the Final Fantasies, bro.
Oh, really? It could easily take you months just to make it through a handful of them. Unless you just breeze through them like they're nothing. I mean, obviously that's an option, but my question would be, would you get the full depth and emergence of the game by doing it?
There's a Dissidia arcade game.
Really?
Yeah. It's like three machines. Or maybe even more than that shit. That's crazy.
I mean, that's one thing about Final Fantasy is like you can have the title, but each game can just have like a completely different direction than any of the other ones.
Right. Yeah, like there's so many different ones that like just the gameplay in general kind of defines it. So it's like I'm assuming with the like with Crisis Core Reunion, it's basically going to be the same thing. It's just like remastered. Like I don't think they're changing the gameplay. Didn't look like it to me, at least. Like I don't think they're gonna.
They're probably just gonna update a bunch of
the systems and the mechanics.
Yeah.
But I assume it would still be the same. They still have the like the slot machine like limits.
Yeah. Which I don't really remember how that worked either.
I don't remember either. Like if I am thinking about it, when I was playing it, to me it seemed completely random.
Yep.
Like I don't think there was really a method to the system. It just went. And if you got lucky, cool.
I just remember trying to do the final battle. I think I ended up fighting for like 45 minutes before I was like, oh, this sucks. I'll just die.
It's like we can make it.
You're supposed to die.
Well, yeah.
But I'm like, nope, I'm gonna kill everybody. But yeah, I mean, just imagine what would happen had Final Fantasy not had the success it has.
It wouldn't be what it is today, that's for sure. And if they didn't turn it around after 13, because after 13 it was not looking too good.
Yeah. Well, I think also like with the 313 games, I mean, I don't know how popular they were. I mean, I don't know if they were super big or whatever, but I know once they came out with 14's got a huge fan base.
Yeah, no, I know.
I mean, at one point, I do believe that they ended up selling out of game codes for Final Fantasy 14. So they couldn't sell any more copies until they made more. And I think that was just within the past year that happened.
Yeah, like, well, I have to give it another try, because like I said, I tried it like last week for a little bit, but it's like, you definitely have to play it for a while to really see like the magic of it, I'm sure.
That's the thing with MMOs. I mean, you're going to have to put time into it to enjoy the story, because they've come out with so many expansions for it now. And I think they give you up to a certain amount of expansions for free at the moment.
Right.
But, I mean, if you don't have the time, obviously you can't enjoy it as much as everybody else who pretty much makes it their life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those games, like, there's the time, and then I don't have the time to spend the money to play that game.
Yeah.
Well, I think we reached I think we've reached the end of our journey for now.
No.
Yeah.
End of part 1.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so there'll be a part 2. Hell yeah.
Well, maybe not for Final Fantasy, but definitely part 2 for whatever. I mean, there's lots of games that we can talk about because like another RPG game we could have talked about was the Lufia series. I mean, there's a 1 and a 2. I remember 2 very, very well, Rise of the Sinistrals.
Well, it's like, man, we could go on, like Dragon Quest. We could take a lot of those old ones. Wild Arms, freaking Legend of Dragoon. Like, there's so many, man.
I know. It's just crazy, like how far everything has come,
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have to figure something out. But yeah, I'm going to end it here. So until next time, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.